Hey, Melissa.
Hey, what's up?
We've got some questions for you. The people want to know. They want to ask a chemist, and I thought, why not this chemist right here?
Why not? Why not me?
Everything from wintergreen mint related questions
Okay.
to tricking pregnancy tests.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And other stuff in between.
All right, let's get into it.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Hey, I'm Melissa.
I'm Jam.
And I'm a chemist.
And I'm not.
And welcome to Chemistry for Your Life.
The podcast helps you understand the chemistry of your everyday life.
Bonus edition. Nice.
Ask a Chemist edition also. Whatever you want to call it. It's happening right now.
Chemistry support.
Yes, chemistry support. Yeah.
Like those Wired videos. I've been watching those. You said something about them. Mm-hmm. They are fascinating. I watched one about dinosaurs. I was like, this is so cool.
And there's something I love about how every time they'll be like fossil support or whatever.
Yeah,
you know, like they're going to do something like that where it's as if the average person is like, I'm trying to dig for dinosaur bones and I need some help. You know?
Need fossil support.
Yeah. It's just so great. Like as if you're just like a tech support hotline you called in or whatever.
I also watched the one on money support. There's one on money support. Oh, there's another one that was like, oh, I wouldn't have thought this was interesting, but I am sold. The YouTube algorithm has got me in its clutches.
There was one I did not go try to seek out, but it was like after a different one I watched. I watched one I think about it's this guy who does one I think it was like how to prevent being like pickpocketed or something.
Oh.
So I watched that one. That one was cool, but then I actually did click on that one. The one that followed it immediately was about a guy who's a funeral director and like embalmer or something. And those questions were so weird and interesting, but also it was just so funny because it was like, I don't know, like embalming support or whatever. I can't remember what word
Death
they used.
Support.
Yeah, but it's just so funny to imagine a bunch of people being like, I'm trying to embalm. Boy, do I need some help.
It's like I need to call IT.
Yeah, this is getting messy. I've got. Okay, so chemistry support. Ask a chemist. Are you ready for the first one?
I'm ready.
Okay, this is a topic about chemistry lessons that I am teaching my grandson. That's cool. We have done a lot of projects on fluorescence, and he even made that the topic of his science project, he made that fluorescence the topic of science project last year. So for the topic of this entry, if you bite down on a Lifesavers wintergreen mint in the dark, watch yourself in the mirror, you'll see blue sparks, which we have done this. Mm-hmm. Remember this? This is an example of fluorescence resulting from mechanically excited electrons, and kids think it's cool. However, which it is cool. Adults think it's cool too. This adult does. However, my grandson is unsuccessful at producing sparks, even though his father and brother are successful. My grandson that's failing to spark wears braces. My hypothesis is that the metal in his braces is interfering with the conversion of the excess energy of excited electrons to light. What does everyone think? This is from Vince, a member of our chem community.
This is a great question.
Wow.
And I love the way that he's thinking about it. So yeah, when these produce light, it's because when you bite down, you're putting energy into the thing. The electrons are excited, so they they're maybe in one level, and as they absorb energy in the form of heat or light, or in this case, like because of the biting down, you're putting energy into it that way. It's like work energy. Then it will make the electrons, they're absorbing energy, and so they can jump up a few levels, and then they have to come back down. And when they come back down, they give off energy to be able to fall back down. And that happens in the form of light. Now, what I think is happening, this is similar to what kind of happened in some of the research I did, is if you could get your electrons excited and then transfer the charge to something else, like transfer that energy to something else, then instead of them falling back down and releasing light the same way, they are releasing energy in other ways.
Okay.
And metals are especially good at, they have lots of electrons that can move up and down in these levels. It's why they're used for conductors a lot of times. And so my guess is that when the electrons are in the excited state, they're making contact with the braces, and that is acting as sort of a conductor. It's like moving the energy away from the wintergreen mint And so it's not coming back down at that perfectly right level. It's basically the braces are tweaking or like taking away some of the energy from the electrons.
Interesting.
So they can't just fall back down in the normal way.
That is so crazy.
I would love to see if other people with metal braces also can't spark them.
Yeah.
So this is a call to action for our community. We're doing an experiment. If you have braces, can you get the sparks? Or maybe that kid just doesn't know how to bite a mint.
Yeah. I want to look back because I don't remember when you had me do this chemistry at home experiment a while ago. I want to say that your instructions even were not to like bite it because I was trying to film it and all that kind of stuff too at the same time.
Yeah.
And I was, doing it by myself. That I like broke it with something else. So I can't remember if it was like.
Oh yeah, maybe I did have you mechanically knock it.
So on one hand, Vince's grandson could still do it, do a different method. On the other hand, I thought, memory is not reliable, especially when it's been like 4 years or whatever.
Probably even
3 years.
longer.
I know it was definitely in his house. So
okay.
Who knows? It could have been 4 though.
How do you remember that?
Because I did it I'd film it.
Oh yeah.
It's like I have these picture memories of filming it and editing it. But I want to say I used like pliers or something, which would have been metal.
Yeah, that's true.
So I should
know.
look back at that. It is a matter of the internet record, but that'd be interesting to add to the question of like, what if I use metal?
Yeah.
Although the metal was not touching anything else, so it couldn't have gone
too far,
right?
Yeah. Interesting.
Like if I was using like needle nose pliers or something, which is what I probably would have grabbed, then they've got rubber handles, and so it's not.
It'd be insulated. Yeah. But then the metal would still be able to maybe transfer it away. But I also wonder if, maybe the braces are interfering in a different way. Maybe they're like keeping him from being able to bite down as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great question.
Yeah.
Maybe it also matters about the type of metal.
Yeah.
Like some metals are better at conducting than others.
Yeah. Wow. What an interesting hypothesis.
Isn't it fun to just wonder?
Yeah, it is very fun. Okay, ready for the next one?
I'm ready.
This one is from Kaiba. Came through Instagram. Frequent, very good question asker for a long time. Why? Oh, the question. How's this written here? He asks the top part and then answers it.
Yes. I forgot to. He sent in an answer to a question that came up in our last episode.
Yes. So we talked to that episode about pregnancy tests, how they work. And you did allude to some things causing them to be falsely positive or negative or whatever. So this is about why tumors sometimes produce the HCG, that hormone, right? That trick a pregnancy test. So according to Kaiba, about the HCG in tumors, it is HCG is produced mainly by the stem cells to communicate to the female body to maintain the levels of progesterone to avoid menstruation, which is the uterus desquamation.
I haven't heard that word.
Yeah, me neither. What happens with tumors is that sometimes, especially in germ cell tumors that are more mature stem cells, the totally mature and differentiated cells start to become stem cell-like again, because stem cells have a high ability to divide. Thus, the tumor also starts to produce the HCG, and some scientists believe that this production is to communicate to other cells that they are not tumors, and others think that the HCG is a byproduct of the cells in that stage.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so what it sounds to me like he's saying is that tumors produce there's a stage at which tumors start to act like stem cells, which are ones that divide easily, and they're very present early on. That's like what all of our bodies are essentially made of. At first, they're like all stem cells, and then they're like, now you become a hand, now you become a brain, you know, and then they all differentiate. And so those stem cells are really good at growing and reproducing. And so tumors have cells that are very stem cell-like. And so it seems like he's saying there's two schools of thought. One is that it produced the HCG to trick other the immune system
Mm-hmm.
and say like, no, we're fine. We're just stem cells. We're not doing anything bad. And so that could be why they produce the HCG to communicate to other cells that they're not tumors. And then other scientists think that the HCG is like, that's just what happens when you have stem cells at that stage. It's a byproduct. But either way, it seems like it serves to maybe trick the body and let the stem cells fly under the radar. But it can also wrongly make it so that men can get a positive pregnancy test.
Right.
And there you have it.
Interesting.
And Caibe is a biochemistry, I think, right?
Right. I would think so. Yeah.
A graduate student, and maybe has his PhD by now. Definitely on the path. So I feel like this is good, trustworthy information.
For real. That is fascinating. I love when we get these kind of write-ins that aren't a question, but are like hey, actually,
I know.
I actually know about this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay. I think these are two different ones here. Is from the same person? Okay. So we'll take the first one. This is from Dawn, sent these in from through our website, which we love. I've been interested in science for many years, particularly chemistry and physics. Your podcast and the episodic table of elements podcast.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's quite literally blown my mind. So much so that I've decided to take an A-level course in a science I couldn't pick between physics, I love radioactivity, and chemistry.
Wait, I want to say that radioactivity is also chemistry. So
there you go. But on balance, chemistry 1. So I'm currently revising my GCSE knowledge and plan on enrolling on the A-level course soon. Woohoo! I'm not doing it to change career. I'm a psychiatric nurse. I just like to learn. Wow, that's awesome. Anyway, I'm listening to your podcast from the beginning on my daily 3-mile walk, and my 6 dogs have a few ideas for topics. That's awesome. Apologies if you have covered these in episodes I haven't gotten to yet. Additionally, I'm aware that some of my suggestions may stray into physics too. Here are a few for now, but I have no doubt I will have more. Wow. Awesome.
So she sent in a lot of topics, and I just picked one.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember reading, I actually did read this when it came in because it comes into the website, which I love, which we can get to easily and find again easily. Doesn't disappear randomly or get lost in the Instagram chaos. One question from the list. What is heavy water?
So heavy water is, I'll say that there are isotopes. Sometimes I get the words isotopes and isomers mixed up. So isotopes are when you have different, it's like they have the same number of base units, but something's different in the protons and neutrons that make it way slightly different. So basically you have like a hydrogen that has one extra thing, so it has more mass, so it's heavier. So instead of it having a mass of 1 atomic unit, it has a mass of 2 atomic units. And so if you have, that's like an example with hydrogen, but there's examples of that with like carbon 12 versus carbon 13. Some carbon's mass is 12, some carbon's mass is 13, because it has the one extra thing to it. And if you if you do that with hydrogen, you have one extra, it's called deuterium. So they sometimes pretend like it's a different atom, but it's just this isotope of hydrogen. And so instead of H2O, you can have D2O. And so that is heavy water. And it's used for all kinds of things. But the thing I most often use what we call deuterated solvents for, where all the hydrogens are replaced with these deuteriums, is sometimes we do a technique where we try to look at what's actually going on in the molecule called NMR. It's the same technique as MRI, but for molecules. And it's looking specifically at the hydrogens. So if you have your molecule dissolved in a liquid that has hydrogens, that will mess it up.
Right. So doing a heavier hydrogen is better.
Because then you can only look at the hydrogens. You're not looking at the deuterium. So you can get like a solvent that replaces all the hydrogens with deuterium. It's way more expensive.
Right.
And they have to be like sealed in these glass ampules is what they're called. Like those individual sealed glass things, so that they don't interact with any of the moisture in the air and like trade their deuteriums out for regular hydrogens.
Right.
But yeah, so that's what heavy water is, and that's what it's used for.
That's so crazy. So
But usually people are talking about it with nuclear things, I think, is how people have heard of it. But that's not what
I was going to
it's
say,
usually used for.
I think in a pop culture sense, that's where I've heard of like isotopes the most, is where like watching Chernobyl, they're like, oh, we're using whatever element 45 or whatever. It's like a heavier version of it or whatever. So how heavy is this water? Like heavy water, how heavy is it?
It's just 2 atomic units heavier per water.
So if you had a cup of both, like would it be notably heavier? Wouldn't that be crazy?
Oh, that's a good question. I thought you were going to try to make a pun out of this. I was like, where is he going?
I was like, it's called this. I was like,
I bet it would be. I bet if you had 2 of the, well, I guess because water is 16 plus 2. Water is 18. What's ethanol? It's carbon. Yeah, so ethanol should be heavier per, so maybe not. But it's kind of, that thing where if you pour hot water versus cold water and people can tell the difference every time. I feel like it's kind of like that, where it's like maybe you'd intuitively know that this feels wrong. Like if you had your water bottle that you picked up every day, you'd be like, whoa, this feels kind of heavy. Maybe you'd know.
And also, I wonder if you're increasing, so the average like molecule of deuterated water versus regular water, the deuterated one would be heavier. But does it also take up more space too? Because then the question would be, you have millions of them in a glass. Can you just not fit as many of them?
I don't think it would take. These are great questions. I love that. I don't think it would take up much more because they would both be centered at the nucleus, and the majority of space is from the electrons. So most atoms have this nucleus, and then it's layered with electrons around it. But for some reason, I'm thinking if it's a neutron or a proton. I can't remember which ones isotopes have more of. I think it's protons, and in that case, it actually would maybe be smaller. I think it's protons.
I was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe each molecule is heavier, but you can't fit as many of them in a glass.
No, it's a neutron. It's extra neutrons.
Okay.
I think. I always forget that because you don't talk about isotopes a ton, and I always am like, which is the one that weighs more? It's one of those ADHD things where it slips away.
Oh, totally.
So I don't think it is. I don't think it is bigger.
Okay, got it.
I think it is probably a similar radius, but that's a good question.
There was this anytime which we don't say this very often, honestly. Like the word nucleus doesn't come up very often. But when it does, I'm always reminded of this really weird little moment. Do you remember that movie called The Rookie that had Dennis Quaid in it? He's like a science teacher at a school, and then he tried to try out for professional baseball and didn't make it. But then something happens, and they realize he's pitching super fast.
Yes.
So
what was that called? Sorry.
Called The Rookie.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Wait. Or is it Rookie of the Year? There's 2.
I feel like, isn't the Rookie the one with the bald guy?
I don't know. Anyway, this movie, whatever it is called, has Dennis Quaid in it. But at one point, there's a scene where he's teaching, and he's trying to get his students to and that's called the, this is one student who's like, the nucleus? Like, he's like really unsure, and that it was the correct answer, but he just really didn't know for sure. Just the way he says the nucleus,
you're like,
is so funny to me. So literally any time the word nucleus comes up, I cannot not think of that movie that I haven't seen in 20 years or whatever.
What is that movie? Because The Rookie looks like it's about a cop.
So there is a show called The Rookie. Rookie Dennis Quaid.
It is called The Rookie.
The Rookie.
Nice. I do think that's it. Where suddenly he can pitch super fast and it doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Well, it's like he used to could, and then something about his tryout that happened, he didn't make it or something, or he got injured. I don't know. Yeah. But it is kind of interesting because I'm like, why would you suddenly be able to again? Unless he just hadn't measured the speed in a long time. And it was like, wait, you've been secretly pitching this fast? Anyway,
Well,
yeah,
there you go, Don.
the nucleus.
The nucleus?
So that's heavy water.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
But I do think it's used in something with the atomic bomb, but I actually don't know about that off the top of my head. And maybe that makes me a bad scientist, but you know what we talk about a lot is being an expert means that you can know about anything about this. You have the tools to go seek it out, but you don't have to keep it all in your brain all the time.
Yeah, who can keep all of everything in anyone's brain?
Not me. And maybe it's because of the destruction that's associated with it, but I have never been really interested in the atomic bomb. It just kind of makes me sad. I know the basic idea behind it, and that's it.
Can I make a formal request on the air in front of everyone?
Yes.
Because I think I asked you this before. I think I've made this request before, but not as formally as I'm about to make it.
Uh-oh.
And I'm almost certain that you haven't already. Will you watch Oppenheimer?
I have not.
Please.
I have not watched Oppenheimer.
I'm pretty sure I asked you to and said how I recommended it.
Yeah.
But this time,
Okay.
I'm like, please watch it.
All right, and we can do a debrief in the next community.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not the next one because we're recording that in 2 days.
Yeah. We can. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. How about this? Deal. You asked me to watch something. Let's trade again. Like we traded Taylor Swift albums or whatever.
Taylor Swift and the Beatles, I think.
Yeah.
But it was a bad Taylor Swift album. I hadn't really listened to it.
Well, no, I think I listened to 2. Remember?
Yeah, it was 2 that I was like, I didn't love them.
But one of them was I had a lot more
positive feelings about.
or I just like collected more songs that were notable.
Let's see.
And you can think about it too if you want. You don't have to pull something out of your head right now.
I don't know.
but-
I haven't watched movies. Did you watch Get Out?
Yes.
Mason's never seen that.
Whoa.
I know it's on our list now.
It's so good.
I haven't watched very many movies lately. Maybe I'll think of another activity that I think it'd be fun for us to do and talk about. But I'll think about it.
Okay, think about it. There's this when you said it's on my list, there's this old Vine where this guy's like, I haven't seen I don't know what movie, let's just say Oppenheimer. I haven't seen Oppenheimer, and there's this audio he clearly added. I've ever been like, ooh, like a huge audience being like, oh, and he goes, but it's on my list, and then everyone goes, yay, and like starts clapping and stuff like that. Like it totally redeems anyone not seeing a movie because I'm planning to.
All right, I put this watch Oppenheimer by next community and do an episode on how the atomic bomb works. There you go. Thanks for that question, because now look what you sparked, Don.
Yes, Don.
And Dawn's like not gonna hear this for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a little Easter egg waiting for her in the future. Well, thanks for letting me admit that weakness of mine. I thought you were gonna be like, can you do an episode about it?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, I mean, that'd be cool, but you know, I sometimes ask a question about an episode we should do something, or sometimes be like, can we please do this? But I feel like if we get so many recommendations all the time that if we ever were like running out, then I may work harder on that. But like, I've been patient about film photography, instant film.
And actually that is on my list for the upcoming weeks.
But it's on my list. Yeah.
It's like, but it's on it for the upcoming weeks. Like I might do it the next time we record, but I don't, no promises, but it is on my potential list for the next time we record. I sort of do a little bit of producing where I'm like, these would go good, and then we could do this, and then these would be some good episodes that go. So sometimes I change them though. I'll be like, this isn't fun.
The fact that it's even potentially on the horizon is great news to me.
Well, Dawn asked about it, and we have a listener who messages us on Instagram every year, and it's like, when are you going to do film?
Nice. It's not me. I'm not using a burner account to do that.
Yeah, right.
Somebody else. Right. This question is from Diana on Instagram. Why do some people have dry hands, and how do the chemicals in lotion help? Huh.
Okay, so I do want to do an episode about moisturizer. We never did do that.
Oh, yeah, we're right.
Let me add that to my list too right now. But here's the idea behind moisturizer. Our skin loses water for lots of reasons. One of them is to keep your temperature regulated.
Right.
It's on purpose that it's losing water. But some of us...
Evaporative cooling much?
Evaporative cooling. Oh, I love that. Some of us, unlike others of us, me, I'm one of the people, don't drink enough water.
Mm.
And so then your skin doesn't have enough water, but it's giving it up to regulate your temperature anyway. And so your skin can get very dry. And so that can be it. I'm sure it's partially genetics as well. But essentially what moisture does is it creates a barrier. Lotions and moisturizer create a barrier. And sometimes they have other things that your skin uses, you know, it's like the oils that are going to be on your skin and stuff that will protect some of that. So they have lots of things in them, but that's the general idea. But one of the most effective moisturizers, or I guess things that traps moisture in your skin, is Vaseline. It's what they say 100% occlusive, so it does not allow any water to go past it because it's so hydrophobic.
Wow.
But the top recommendation for chapstick, for example, from a lot of dermatologists is to put a little bit of moisturizer on because it brings moisture back, and then coat that with Vaseline. And then none of the new moisturizer that you added can go away.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. Speaking of all that stuff, can I add another, speaking of not ever asking you a question, can you figure out how chapstick is a total ripoff scam, and how are they getting everyone?
Yeah, so this dermatologist that I follow has talked about that.
Nice. Dr. Shaw?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, sometimes they put ingredients, I can answer it right now. Sometimes they put ingredients in chapstick that are irritants. And so it makes you feel like, oh, my lips are chapped, I need to add more. And they're like actively chapping them by putting irritants in.
Wow.
And so really...
You heard it here first. The name chapstick is actually more accurate than we thought. It's actually chapping them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And so that he's the one who said one of the most effective things you can do is actually just put a little bit of lotion, unscented moisturizer on your lip, and then Vaseline over the top of it.
Dude, wow.
And it works really well when I go to Amarillo and it's so dry. Oh, that's the other thing that can make your skin dry is if there's less moisture in the air, it'll suck it up.
Wow. That's so cool. Wow.
I know. So there you go. Chapstick is a total ripoff, and you should just buy Vaseline and put it on your lips, and it'll protect the natural moisture. Or if your lips are dry, put the lotion and then the Vaseline. And that's often what I do.
That's so smart and so cool. And this is the kind of stuff that, like, you know, Big Chapstick, Big Bert and all his bees, they don't want you to know this, but this is real.
Burt's Bees actually has it often has one of the most irritating things in it, but I can't remember what it is.
It's like, we put a little bit of bee sting venom in there. It's like, okay, guys, you don't gotta do
allegedly,
that.
I don't want big bees to come for us.
Yeah, we're just alleging here.
But I was quoting Dr. Shaw earlier, so that's not alleged. That's from an expert from another expert.
Nice.
That's me interpreting someone else's expertise.
Nice. This next one from David on the website, through the website. With your position at UNT, are you taking in any graduate students? Could I ever be an actual chemistry pupil of yours instead of a virtual one like I already am?
Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, David, but actually the answer is no.
David.
Sorry, David. I wonder how often he gets that. Probably all the time.
Yeah. David. Yeah, that's hard.
Ew, David.
Yeah.
So I am a lecturer at UNT, which means that, well, there's like research professors and there's essentially teaching professors. And some research professors also have to teach. But teaching professors do not have to do research. So our only job is to teach, essentially. So at UNT, they're called lecturers or professional faculty, whereas at other universities, they're called teaching professors. That means kind of the same thing. But so my job is only teaching, and I actually took that intentionally. I did not want to do research, not because I don't love grad students. I love grad students, but I wanted to have time to do this. And I wanted to be able to have time to spend with my friends and my family, and being a research professor is very intense, and it does not really allow for you to do other creative endeavors. You have to do research all the time. It's like getting another PhD. And transitioning to teaching was hard, and I did just have a pretty hard 9 months, but like transitioning into research faculty and trying to get tenure is hard for 5 years. And I just didn't want to do anything hard for
Mhm.
5 more years. Not that hard. And I really feel like the podcast is super important, and I did not want to do anything that would keep me from being able to do this.
So it's like she would have had to sacrifice you being a virtual podcast pupil in order to hypothetically have graduate students like you as a pupil. So that yeah.
But I'd get like 2 months off in the summer to develop all my course materials and to work on podcast stuff in higher amounts. And I have plans for what I want to do this summer and in the future summers. And if I was a research professor, I'd have to be doing research all summer. So I just wouldn't have that flexibility. So you can be my student only if you want to take OChem as an undergrad at UT. Oh, I did want to say something actually about that with Dawn saying that she was going to take a class just because she loves learning.
Mm-hmm.
And David asking about being an adult student. We have another adult student that also wrote to us recently on YouTube, made a comment. I think it's on here. So I am really excited. Maybe I should leave this for our community episode, but several of my students were taking an ornithology class, which is bird class. And they took a trip to this place called Horn Island in Texas, which is one of the first places that birds land when they're migrating. And so it's a great place for bird watching. And they're like, so basically we're just going on a field trip for this class where we bird watch all weekend. And I was like, can I take that class?
Dude.
I emailed the professor. They only offered in the spring, but he was like, absolutely. Remind me in October and we'll set aside everything. You can just audit it informally. You just sit in, you don't have to sign up or anything, but you can just attend my lectures. And I rearranged my teaching schedule so I get to go take it like in the middle of my work day.
That's awesome.
So excited.
That's so cool.
I thought about it so many times.
Yeah.
So
wow.
And I love watching birds.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite things to do. If I can work outside and there's like these 2 birds that fight with this little tiny bird, and it's like they're like, this is the best bug catching spot. And then the tiny bird's like, yeah, I want to come over here. And those other 2 are like, get out of here. And they're like, fly at them. And it's crazy. And it's just so fun. And you can learn about their behaviors and how they breathe and all this cool stuff. And the professor was so nice. And he worked with our friend Clarissa in her undergrad.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
That's awesome.
Clarissa was also in the class. And she also told me I would love it.
Nice.
And so, yay for adult learners. Let's all have hobbies and be lifelong learners like Jam, who chose to learn chemistry in his free time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's one thing you copy about me, let it be this one. Just kidding.
There's a few others. You're a really good dad and partner.
It's just funny because I do feel like there's it is fun being the learner, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's fun. Why not?
It's really fun. It's really fun. And when Claire came on the podcast, I was like, oh yeah, I love learning from podcasts.
Yeah.
I'd kind of forgotten because I was like learning all the time in school that I forgot that you could learn for fun. And that's kind of about the Wired tech support.
Totally. Yes. I feel like so much of my YouTube history is really that. It's like, of course I was going to like being this role on this podcast. It's already everything I watch on YouTube, pretty much.
Does that mean that this video is not going to get recorded?
Okay, well, we had a video issue and now we're back continuing. Sorry about that.
We were just talking about loving learning.
Yeah.
So I feel like we probably didn't miss too much.
Yeah.
About my bird class and about how you love learning.
Yes, bird class. And we'll talk more about that in the next community. If you want to hear some of the behind the scenes friend talk, you can join our community on Patreon and hear those bonus episodes. Are you ready for the next question from David?
Yes.
Are you all updating this website?
This is a question for you, I think.
Yeah, actually, I meant to respond to him, but to ask him what he's actually talking about, because I think he's looking in the wrong place. But are you all updating this website with new episodes anymore? I've had some students use pretty recent episodes as their source for an assignment. When I search the website for said episode to verify they're telling the truth, I find nothing. I was just curious. Also, David, through the website.
So we should go to chemforyourlife.com and then click on episodes. Right?
Yes, and then it takes you to?
it takes you to believe.com, which is our network that we're part of. And if you scroll down, then you can see our most recent episode, Chemistry at Home Chromatography.
Yes. So I think what's happening is that probably, so two things I thought he might be saying. One, I was wondering if he was talking about the resources for educators thing.
Oh.
That was one possibility. Second possibility.
Good question.
That he's looking at our old podcast host website, if he has that bookmark or something, which would have been chemforyourlife.transistor.fm. That still exists. I think I can go take that down, but the reason I didn't is because
useful.
It's useful. I wanted someone, if they are looking for us at all, to still find us. If they look at any of our episodes, they'll find our website and then find the more current whatever. So if you are looking, David, or anyone else out there who has a similar question, if you're looking at chemforyourlife.transistor.fm, that will only show the episodes up until we stopped using that hosting platform when we joined our network called Believe. At that point, then all old and new episodes are on our website and on the Believe page that also has all our website, all of our stuff. So make sure you're not on the Transistor one, and you should be good. They should all be there. But on the chemistry, on the resources for educators, which I feel like if he meant that, he would have said that.
Yeah.
But that was one of the things I was wondering if he could have meant.
Well, I think the next question is also an educator, so we can maybe use that as a chance to chat about it if we want to go look at that one.
Yeah, so here is the Transistor one, which would have been...
Well, it did look like it...
a year ago.
Oh, yeah, May 2nd, 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we've been on Believe for that long, huh?
Yeah.
That was our anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Not our... Well, it is our anniversary, but not to marrying each other, to marrying other people.
Yes. Yeah, both married on May 2nd, different years. Pretty
different
cool.
People.
Different years, different people.
It's like when Rhett and Link always have to clarify we're married, but not to each other. Yeah. Everyone thinks we're married to each other. We're not.
Yeah, that is so funny. Okay, so this next one and the last one is from I apologize if I mispronounced her name, Animusha on YouTube. I found you guys while doing an assignment for one of my college classes while going back to college at 35 to eventually teach high school chemistry. Awesome.
Yay!
And I just want to say I appreciate you guys and plan on using your podcast in my classroom when I get there.
So I saw that and I wanted to highlight it because if you go to chemforyourlife.com at the top, and sometimes it's like on the little buttons and sometimes it's a banner at the top, there's a thing that says resources for educators. Mm-hmm. It's the little green banner, I think, or is it also under the about section?
It's both. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you could either go to about and resources for educators, or it's like a banner at the top. It'll take you to a Google Drive folder that is resources for educators, including projects, how people have used this in their class for projects, extra credit, class activities. And then I also had my husband write code to count keywords in different episodes. And then if you click on that, it's like a spreadsheet. And so if you're like, oh, I want to learn about acids and bases or intermolecular forces, you can see which episodes in that it was most often used. So for example, the first column is acids, and then 56 times the word acid was used in baking soda and baking powder. What's the difference? It's because it's about acids and bases.
Nice.
So it's a way that you can kind of see what concepts are used most often for which episode, and then you can use that to assign it in your classroom. So maybe one day we could streamline this website, but for now, this is what we're using, and he periodically goes in and updates it. So
nice.
There you go.
Yeah, and of course, it even if it's not up to date, that specific thing, it has tons of episodes already in there.
Hundreds, yeah.
That definitely hit so many of those things. So it's super useful already. But yeah, we have done episodes since it's been updated. But
yeah, for sure.
Yep. Great questions. David, reach out to us if that doesn't answer your question or if that's something else you have a problem with. And also, I was planning on emailing you back. So One of these ways we will communicate and figure it out.
He's a little behind, so he'll get this in like a year. He said a year's worth of episodes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
He had a kid. I think he got,
Yeah.
life hits hard.
Understandable. Wow. How do we close these?
I think we usually say thanks to y'all for writing in questions.
Oh, yeah. And then we just basically do the normal stuff.
Basically do the normal stuff. We haven't recorded in over a month, so I think our brains are tired.
Thanks for your questions. If you have a question, a follow-up, a correction, any of that kind of stuff, totally new idea for an episode, please reach out to us on our website at chemforyourlife.com. That's chemforyourlife.com to share your thoughts and ideas and questions with us. If you'd like to help us keep our show going and contribute to cover the costs of making it, you can join our super cool Chem community of patrons on patreon.com/chemforyourlife. That's patreon.com/chemforyourlife to join that super cool Chem community. It's a great way to keep the show going and to get some behind the scenes stuff, extra things, ways for us to say thank you for doing that. You get an ad-free feed of the show, and you get the knowledge that you are making the show possible and keeping it free for everybody else. So that's pretty dope, we think. And if you're
Definitely.
not able to do that, though, you can still help us by subscribing to our favorite podcast app, writing a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're whatever podcast app you have, if it has a rating, rate us there. And subscribe to us on YouTube and leave a comment over there saying, hey, we're getting more and more people over on YouTube every week or so. So we'd love to have you over there.
Yeah. This episode was created by me and Jam is our producer. He does all the incredible audio sound. Do we need a pause?
What's the irony of does all the incredible audio sound and then discovering that the video stopped once
Well, at
again.
least it stopped. It looks like it might still be recording. Is it not, though?
No, it's not.
Okay. Well,
we can just keep on with the audio, I guess, and
have the video cut off. It'll be okay.
Yeah, it's not the best, but
You could maybe just do due to technical difficulties, audio only right now. Sorry, we love you.
Yeah, it could just be the last little bit of that one. Just turns to audio and has no video.
Yeah.
So
Jam Robinson is our producer who's responsible for all this amazing audio.
and responsible for all the mistakes and errors that go on.
How dare you? Stop. You're incredible. You are literally a professional. This is literally your job. What do we say about experts? They don't have to know everything. They don't have to be perfect.
It's just that when they get things wrong, they can figure out what they did wrong pretty fast.
And then fix it usually for the next time.
Yeah.
Just for all of you listening, our audio cut out right there. And that's what these jokes are about. I think you should leave all that in. I think it'd be fun.
I'll leave it. Yeah. Okay. Why not?
I love it when podcasts are like behind the scenes. Okay, well, what I do want to do before we roll out here is say thank you to Emily H., to Ash, to Vince, to Julie, to Heather, to Autoclave, to Chelsea, Dorian, Scott, Jesse, Sierra, John, Jeanette, Cullen, Erica, Elizabeth, Sarah, Rachel, Latila, Katrina, Suzanne, Venus, Lynn, Jacob, Brian, Emerson. I just am so happy because there's so many people on this list. Christina, Tim, Steven, Chris, Claire, Chelsea, Avishai, and Hunter. Thank you all for supporting the podcast. It's incredible to see this list get so long and to know how much that you've done to help us.
Do we have any resources for this one?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, in that case, yay chemistry.
Yay audio, visual.